And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Friday Master. Every single Friday at 9 a.m., we are here to give you inspiration, provide leadership, and a place to collaborate, a place where like-minded mortgage professionals learn from someone awesome. Today, that awesome super guest is Carl White. What's up, Carl?
Hey, brother. Good to be here with you guys.
Well, 2 weeks in a row with Carl White is something I've looked forward to. So thank you for last week and this week, as I'm looking forward to learning some lead gen strategies.
Well, see, it's always see back in high school, I had to sit at the uncool people's table, during lunch, and to sit here at the cool table 2 weeks in a row, it's an honor. It really is.
Well, I feel like I'm getting to be at the cool table. So thanks for making our table cooler. We also have Mr. Todd Bookspan, my wingman, with this event, and Todd is going to help turn what Carl shares into action. What's up, Todd?
Hey, not a whole lot. I'm excited to be hanging out with the cool kids as well. It's it's always fun to be here, and I think that Carl's message is going to be so pertinent right now, as many of you are in states that are going to open up and get back to work, but you're still looking for other ideas. And I know Carl is full of great ideas, so excited to be alongside.
Awesome. And we have Dan Rovich again. Dan is going to be a more regular leader on the Friday Mastermind. He's going to come in at least once a month and provide some type of an update. Sometimes those will be 5 minutes, sometimes they'll be 20 minutes. And today he's just here as a support leadership role to ask Carl questions. And what's up, Dan?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing good,
Can you hear me?
bro.
Good. Hey, I just wanted this cool. What is this cool tables talk? I didn't really sit in lunch. I was in the field smoking the weed, but yeah. I understand there was a cool table. I have a feeling Carl was in that field too, but I don't know. It's just a guess.
Yeah, that was, I lost a few brain cells with hobbies in my youth, but yeah.
It was the 70s, bro.
It was the 70s.
That's hilarious.
It was a good time. So, all right. Well, I'm ready to dive into it. You ready to dive, Dave?
Okay. One more second. So Dan, I did get a bunch of questions on your update last week. You were saying, hey, rates are going to go into the twos, and is it 2 to 6 months? When you say twos, do you think they're going to go below 2.5, or do you think they're going to be in the upper twos? Just clarification on that real quick.
I could see low twos. I think 2.5 is sort of a given. And again, not to get too detailed, but I just look at the historic spread between mortgage rates and Fed funds. Mortgage rates in the 10-year, believing that the 10-year is going to get to zero. Fed funds already at zero, and a 2% spread is kind of reasonable. So that's why I think 2 to 2.5 is fair. We're already seeing high twos, right?
Yeah. Okay. Got it. I just wanted to get clarification on that, guys, for planning. If you want to hear the whole update, link down below. And it was last week's Friday Mastermind. So we're ready to get going. Carl, I can't think of no one else better than you to just learn what are the best lead gen strategies in today's market. And coming out of America being open, what advice are you giving to your coaching clients, and what advice do you have for us today?
All right, let me see if I can open up that. All right, see my screen okay?
We do.
All right, so I'm going to rip at this for 30 minutes, and then I'll turn over to the next person here. But if you have any questions, be sure to ask it. So I think one thing that we're finding, Dave, is that there's been, and everybody knows this, there's been a reset in the way that we do business. And again, I think we mentioned this a little bit last week. It's just a catalyst on what was already happening. This was just a catalyst to make it happen that much faster. And I just want to be perfectly clear that going back the old way, the way things were, it's not possible, and frankly, it's probably not good enough either. That we need to go forward and do something special. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about here today. So the old way has worked for us extremely well, right? And that's the way we've all been doing this for the last, whether it's been 1 year, 2 years, or Dave, for you and I, for decades. That there's definitely a new way to be doing this. And I know, Dave, you and Mortgage Coach and your clan over there have always been on the front edge of this. And you guys have been promoting, video, things of the more virtual nature for a long time, and you've always been on the front edge of all that stuff. And not to say that the old way of the good old coffee and shaking hands did us well, because it did us real well. It's just, I really think going forward, that it is going to be more of the virtual nature, even when, quote, we come out of the lockdown kind of thing. I really believe that. And one thing that I want to tell everybody is we got to be very careful when we're talking about lead gen. We got to be very careful that we don't get so involved into what's the newest thing out until we put into place those things that we already know how to do, that we already have in place. We just haven't been doing them because we haven't, we've been, quote, too busy or haven't had time to. And I just put up a couple slides here. These guys, like Scott Forte, I was messaging him yesterday, and I just took a clip of part of it here, and he was just answering my question here. Let me move this so I can see it. And he said, yeah, I just had my best month ever, 30 loans for $8.6 million. Now, Scott, in a small town in Louisiana, this is not a team of 20 loan officers. It's him, right? This is him. He's closed. I mean, he has help, he has assistance, but he's closing 30 loans, and it's not by having a bunch of fancy, 15-step process to, quote, get my name out there. Just being honest with you, it's that those old standard ways that we know that brings in new business, which is frankly meeting with referral partners and asking for it, right? It's really just that simple. And that we have to sometimes, Dave, we can get so busy building the farm that we forget to milk the cows. And so we have to make sure we're milking the cows first. And by the way, you can tell I'm from the South and an old farm boy myself. We can't be so busy trying to buy new cows that we don't milk the cows that we already have. And so what I'm going to tell you is, like, before you do anything else, make sure that you're just simply asking for the business with those relationships that you already have. Just that one simple thing, right? And I know people in the past, because I see the same ads you guys do, don't be begging for business, don't be chasing. Look, asking for business is just good old salesmanship. Good old salesmanship. You get on the phone with Dave and awesome guys over there showing us how to do a mortgage coach. At the end of a great presentation, they show us how to build our business. Are they going to ask for our business? Of course they are. Why? Because their team over there is a first-class, high-rate salespeople, just like you that's watching this today. So just make sure that you're actually asking for the business. Here's another guy, Adam Dublé, $4 million in his own production. By the way, just sending out some text, and I'm going to show you a copy of the text here. Brian Pearl, this guy's in Lexington, South Carolina. He did 110 units in February, 150 in March, 202 in April. He's got 341 active files in process right now. Just talking like, this is as of like 4 days ago, right? How's he doing it? Just those the same processes that we know we need to do. Corey Kavanowski closed 32 million last month. And I just want to clarify, this is not a team of 20 loan officers. This is Corey's production. This is his production. So he did 32 million last month, and he should hit 50 million this month, right? Just astounding numbers. And again, not by doing a bunch of new and sexy stuff, just by doing those things that we already know that work, and then driving the leads, and then using the mortgage coach total cost analysis to convert those leads. And I think things are a little different right now while we're going through, and I think we're on depending upon what part of the country you're in, we're on the other side of this crisis. I get it, we're still in it, but I think we're on the other side of that hump, I think most people would say. And one thing that you got to be careful of is that, like, right now, tip number one, we have to be focusing on long-term relationships. This is not a cash grab. I get it. The refis are great right now. And we want you to keep doing those and growing those. But I really want you to focus on your long-term relationships, right? Number two, man, you got to believe yourself it's going to be okay, right? You got to believe it's okay. And again, we're a little on the other side of this. And I think, maybe a month ago, we were all kind of freaking out at some level. And I think we all know that we're going to be okay, but we have got to, we've got to feel that, because our team and your database is watching you. Like, the last thing I would do is I wouldn't post anything. Gosh, did you see this other bad news today? Like, don't be posting bad news. They got through the news network, Fox or CNN or whatever. They're going to get the bad news, right? We don't need to provide that. They're already getting that. Provide the good news. Provide the other side of things. And so your people are watching you, your clients are watching you, and your referral partners are watching you. And understand, this is a big point, that sales and marketing is nothing more than a transference of confidence. Let me say that again. Sales and marketing is nothing more than a transference of confidence. Why does Mortgage Coach work so well for everybody? Because Dave and the team over there and Todd, they are 100% confident that it will drastically improve your conversion rates. And that's why they come with such confidence, right? Same thing with you in your mortgage business, your mortgage practice. You have to understand, you have to believe that things are going to be okay, and you transfer that confidence to your referral partners and your prospects, and that's when people will take action. And you can't fake it; you have to actually believe what you're saying. And another part, is understand, in not believing that everything's going to be okay. I think we all kind of get this at this point, that hey, this is going to end at some point. It's likely to end very soon, and we can all make this another 30 days, right? And the people I just showed a few minutes ago are proving that, man, they're having their record months right now, as many of you are, right? And that this situation we're on is likely to be over in a matter of a couple of weeks, like one way or the other, right? And again, depending upon what part of the country you're in. But I want you to, like, when we go through times like this, I want you to think, this could be the moment I've been waiting for, because not that we're glad this happened, right? Nobody's a kind of jerk that says I'm glad this happened, but now that this has happened, how can I make this a great moment for me in my business, right? And this is going to go back to relationship building, and I'm going to show you some text here to send out. I think it's also real important, and I'm not going to go on this slide too much, but I think it's real important to market to your own team. Like my internal marketing talks about the marketing to my team, the people that I work with, that I have to transfer confidence to them that everything's going to be okay. Like we are also, I think everybody knows I'm a branch manager. We're having our record month, right? Last month was a record, and this month that we're currently in is yet another record. And so we have to let our own team know that everything's going to be okay, and people are freaking out. We can't participate in that, right? And you have to give them purpose about why we're doing this. We're like, I told my mortgage team, like, look, we have to step up the plate here and do what happens, put our game face on and help people, because there's a lot of people hurting right now. And where maybe a cash out refinance is debt consolidation might be one of the solutions to help people. And so we got to put on our game face and help just as many people as we possibly can. And the other thing I found is it's best on my team, because they have their own little freaking out, at some level that they're doing, some more than others, is that I found that we had to break our projects into micro sprints. So instead of giving them a project to work on for the next 30 days, we might give them a large project, but we check in every morning and every afternoon to see what are they going to accomplish today. And at the end of that day, give them an opportunity to claim a victory by getting that thing done. So I'm meeting with my team every day from 9:30 till 9:45, which we go around a virtual room. What are you going to accomplish today? What's your biggest opportunity? And then we check in at 4:30. Did you get that done? And it's not really so much as accountability as allowing them to claim a victory when they see so much negative stuff going around right now. So I think that's a real important thing to do. And also understand that, like, anytime you see situations like this going around, is that there's one of three things, and I might have mentioned this last week, but there's one of three things that people will do. 10% will fight, 70% will freeze, and 20% will flee. And we have to make sure that we are in that part that'll fight, which I know the mortgage coach community is in that. Because what happens, like if we look at say the next, and I probably should have shortened this up and made it only maybe even a year long, but I got a 3-year timeline here, that there's a certain time period, and it's probably, instead of 18 months, it's probably closer to 6 months of a survival line for a lot of people a lot of mortgage companies going through what we're going through right now. And those people that freeze, those people that say, hey, I'm going to hold off on doing mortgage coach, or I'm going to hold off on doing this, or I'm not going to make any phone calls, or I'm not going to make any coffee appointments, or I'm not worried about how many TCAs I'm doing. The people that like cuddle up in the corner and roll up in a fetal position, they will absolutely fall off the map, right? They're panicked, fear focused, and they will fall off the map. The indecisive people, they're up and down and up and down and up and down, and frankly, nothing really changes. And then the other group that fights, that's where the real magic happens. But one thing that's real important to understand is in the beginning of things like this, you really can't tell a difference between the three groups. It's not until a little time passes that you can see an enormous difference between, like here in the beginning, it's not that much difference. You see a little bit more difference. Of course, the fear, you know, the flight people, the flee people, right, they're off. They've been lost out. But those that step up the plate and fight, those that try to earn their next badge with their total cost analysis and looking to have as many conversations as they have, as sharing as many opportunities they have, those that fight for this stuff see a huge difference going forward. I'll get to this in a minute. All right, so let's go over some of the strategies. So this script that we're using right here to our consumer database is really knocking it out of the park for us. This is working very, very well for us. And feel free to do a screenshot, or I guess this is going to be up on the Facebook page here. But the script goes, hey, this is Carl White at ABC Mortgage. I helped you with your mortgage last time. The purpose of my phone call, first of all, is to see how you guys are doing with everything that's going on, right? And then they're going to tell you. And then before we go, we say, hey, well, one more thing I wanted to bring to your attention. A lot of people are reaching out to me about doing debt consolidation refinancing. This is where you take all of your payments and make them one smaller payment, sometimes saving $200, $300, even $500 or more per month. And you may even be eligible to skip a month's payment with this special program, right? Which is a refinance, right? You skip a payment. Is now a good time for us to look to see if this is a good option to you to perhaps save money each month and pay off all your bills and skip a month's payment? Or is tomorrow at 2 o'clock a better time for you? Basically, you're just setting up an appointment to do a TCA with them, right? To see how you can help them. This is working extremely well. The other thing that we're seeing with this, Dave, is this makes a phenomenal Facebook ad. Now, this is not your standard Facebook ad where you send it out to strangers. This is where we take our past database, we upload that past database into Facebook, we do an ad with this little verbiage right here about doing the debt consolidation, one smaller payment, and then we target only our past database to see this ad. And this is working for us. When we compile this with the phone call, it's working extremely, extremely, extremely well for us. So before we go out and start like some sort of a new process that we're not doing before, pick up the phone, call your, if you haven't called your database in 5 years, it's okay. Now's a great time to call, because they don't know that we're supposed to be calling 2, 3, 4 times a year. If we've never called in 5 years and now you call for the first time, they might think, oh, so Carl's going to call me every 5 years. I get it now. They don't know that we're supposed to be calling them, so it's okay. But pick up the phone and do this phone call. I guarantee you pick up the phone and call everybody in your database. And if you say, well, Carl, I'm kind of brand new, I don't have a big database, get your Facebook friends and have a conversation. Send this as a Facebook message, and I bet you'll give Jeremy Forcier a run for his money on the amount of TCAs that you do this month. I bet you. And I guarantee you, Jeremy likes a good challenge. So this script has been working for us really well.
Carl, real quick, I want to jump in. So
yes, sir.
Guys, this script is pure gold. Take a picture. Yes, this is recorded. It will be at our YouTube channel later on. And I don't know, Carl, I've had a few requests for your slides. Are those something you're willing to share?
Oh, dude, and by the way, I've already got this all recorded, the slides, and already uploaded. So I'll show you where you can, it's free. It's free.
Awesome.
I'll share everybody.
So stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, we already set up a page for them. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see. Phone calls to referral partners. Again, this has been working extremely well. You don't have to call strangers. Call those people, call those people that's referred to you in the last 2 years, right? Just make a list of everybody that's referred. Even if you haven't heard from them in a year and a half, I'm going to tell you right now, now's the time to be reconnecting with these people. Like when I did that sentence, now's the time this is the perfect opportunity, or this is the time I've been waiting for to implement blank. For me, it was to reconnect up with those people that I haven't connected up for in a while. Again, I'm not saying I'm glad this happened. Of course I'm not. But since it did happen, it's the moment I've been waiting for to be able to reconnect with people. And people are answering Dave, we're used to people answering their phones. We'll hit voicemail probably like 80 to 85% of the time typically. That's not what we're seeing right now. What we're seeing right now is actually the reverse. Is by far most are answering their phone because they're, you know, in much of the in the country, they're locked down. So this is not something you want to do 2 months from now. This is something you want to do today, like right now. So, all right. So on calling referral partners, we have 2 different methods here, and I'm going to show you both of them. So call those referral partners that's referred to you in the last 2 years, but maybe not lately, or if they were a listing agent on your deal the last year or 2, call on them. The ones that's currently referred, call on them. Like just call on anybody as long as they're a producing real estate agent, right? I always like to verify their numbers through the MLS system, which my favorite realtor printed me up a list of all the agents in the Tampa Bay area was closing 8 buyer sides or more in the last 12 months. We get that list and then we start calling. And I will say, hey, hey, Dan, over at Dan's Remax. This is Carl over here at ABC Mortgage. And then tell the connection. Dan, remember, we worked together in the past, or Dan, we're working on a deal now, or Dan, I see you go to the same church as I do. Like whatever connection you have, right? It doesn't matter what it is. So anyway, I just called to see how's everything going right now. Just open-ended question like that. And they usually give a pretty short answer right there. And then we hit them with this one. Well, Dan, the reason I was calling to see what help you need. And before you say anything, this is not about me getting your next deal, Dan. This is about making sure that you close deals on time. I know a lot of mortgage companies are focused on refinances and aren't in the position of closing in time or even closing at all for that matter. The reason I want to help you is I do focus in on the purchase market. I do close on time, and I'll be here with you to close any deals to make sure they get their home on time and to make sure you get your commission check on time. That's more important now than ever. Who do you have that I can help you with? Question mark. And let them answer. If they say, well, nobody right now, like, hey, Dan, can I count on you to give me a call with your next buyer lead so I can help you? Can I count on you for that? We are getting more referrals right now from this simple little script because most of the loan officers aren't doing the phone calls right now. They're not seeing them at the Realtors Association because nobody's there right now. And I'm going to tell you, right now is the time to go in and start growing your market share and increasing where you're getting your loans from. One thing, just real quick, I'm going to show you another script here to the real estate agents. But one thing that I would encourage you to do is make a list of all those things that you wish you had done to prepare for this. Like if you had known that this was going to happen like 6 months ago or even a year ago, what do you wish you would have done to prepare for this? Like if you had an inside tip, other than buying toilet paper and maybe getting out of your the S&P 500 for a couple months or so, what do you wish you would have done? And some people saying, hey, I wish I'd have made a team up. I wish I'd been worked on my database. I wish I had a CRM set up. I wish I had mortgage coach in place. I wish I'd saved money. I wish I would have worked on more referral partnerships. I wish I'd have started the video marketing. Like, make a list of those things. This is your to-do list going forward for the next 6 months or so. And then you go, well, which one do I work on first? I made this list. Whichever one's going to make you your first dollar first. Whichever one you're most likely to complete. Whichever one you think you'll like doing. And whichever one that once you have it up and going, you can delegate it out. That's how you pick on which one to do first. The biggest thing, which one's going to make me my first dollar first? Not even my most dollars, my first one first. Because as soon as I make a first dollar, that gives me validation that all this hard work was worth it. And I got something good coming in. And now that helps fund the next project. For those of you that are crazy busy, I get that right now. Here's a little thing that we find is working real good in our shop, is we work on purchases first in the day. We work on purchases from 9 to noon. So those are the most important. Make sure we get those done, because that's what's going to feed us this month, next month, and 2 years from now is the purchase business. And then we work on our refis from 1 to 4. And so that's been working really, really, really well for us. So if we get a refi lead at 10 in the morning, we leave it alone until 1 o'clock. Well, Carl, what if they go somewhere else? Well, then they went somewhere else, right? Focus on your purchases from 9 to noon. Now, if you're focusing on your purchase from 9 to 10 and you're done, awesome, go to the refi. But focus on your purchases for the first part of the day. And then when you're done with the purchases, then start working your refi leads. And how we used to do it is we'd take leads during the day, and then during the afternoon, we'd work those leads, right? that's not what we recommend right now, with everything kind of being a little crazy on the pricing still, is we get a lead, take the app, do what's necessary. If possible, lock the lead, turn over to processing, then work on the next lead, right? And the biggest thing is, do not overwork your team right now. Don't win the battle and lose the war. This is a really super important point. All right, so here's another, I'll finish up here. I've got like 3 minutes here. This is another thing that's been working extremely well for us, Dave, and we might have talked a little bit about this last week, but we're texting our referral partners to teach them how to use Zoom. And I've got a class, if you're not familiar with Zoom, obviously you're all familiar because you're on here now. And I know a lot of your crowd, Dave, is, you know, the more advanced crowd. But if you're new-ish to Zoom and don't have it set up yet or not really sure how to do it, again, I pre-recorded a class that walks you through from getting the free Zoom account to exactly how to do it step by step. I already pre-recorded the class. It's up with the recording of this class in the PowerPoint, and it's yours to have. You're welcome to have it. But
Carl,
what we're doing is
Carl,
yes, sir.
Real
Yes, sir.
quick on this, guys. So I don't care whether you know how to use Zoom or not. Zoom is the new way that we connect, and we have an office meeting. I do a lot of Zoom calls. I'm gonna watch that interview. I guarantee I will get one little tiny thing that helps me. So guys, whether you're new to Zoom or not, what Carl just shared is something that I would just say is required for mortgage coach community. Anyways, keep going, bro. I just think that's more important than you played it.
And you know, Dave, we're finding, dude, I am shocked by that. I would have lost this bet for sure. We're finding that the Zoom meetings are actually converting not as well as a face-to-face coffee. They're better. It's blown my mind. I'm telling you, yes, it has absolutely blown my mind. I thought it was just us maybe, but it's been repeated over and over that these are actually converting even better than a face-to-face. Makes no sense whatsoever. I tell you, going forward, Dave, we might not do the face-to-face. I'm it's so much more efficient. There's no drive time. We can meet with more. It's not as taxing, you know, physically as, you know, face-to-face meetings are, man, that's high-level stuff, you know, and after 3 of them, I don't know about you, but I'm like spent for the day. And we're finding the Zoom meetings, it takes a little less energy per se, and it's converting at least as well. At least as well.
I'm going to study your training. Thank you for that.
All right. So on the Zoom meetings, here's the thing is we're texting. So this is the exact text. Again, with anything I say, always run it through your compliance, you know, make sure everything's cool. But this is what my compliance, which doesn't speak for you, of course, but this is what my compliance said is okay for me to send. It'd be, hey, Realtor Todd, trying to help as many agents as I can to learn virtual meetings with Zoom. Wanted to see if you're open to a call on Friday to go through it and practice with you and share a couple ideas. I've been using it to communicate at a real high level with those that know, like, and trust you, and eventually those that don't. You available, question mark? We're getting a high percentage of responding back. Here's the thing. When we do these things, and here's another one, and again, you got access to all this. Here's text number 2 that we sent them the day before, and then here's the text we sent them 30 minutes before. That you don't have to know how to use Zoom to get them on this thing, because what you're saying is, hey, we're going to, Dave, Dan, Todd, we're going to get on this Zoom meeting, and we're just going to kind of practice a little bit together and kind of push the buttons and see how it works. Now, in this training that I'm giving you, you're going to know how to do it, but don't feel like you have to be able to set up these meetings. And you say, well, Dave, let's start clicking on some buttons and let's see what happens, man. I just clicked on this. What did you see on your end? All right, I'm sharing my screen. Do you see it okay? Do I sound okay? Is the lighting behind me okay? Is my camera look okay? You know, so the point being, do not wait till you're a pro before you do this. Just go do it. Just go do it. If we're meeting one-on-one on these Zoom meetings, and my final statement here, if it's a one-on-one meeting that you're having, at the end of that call, ask for the business. Hey, Dave, man, I really appreciate you getting on here, and we played with the Zoom a little bit. You told me a little bit about your real estate business, and man, it sounds like things are going great. And boy, if I could hit the universe reset button and only work with agents like you, Dave, I'd be in loan officer heaven. Brother, could I count on you to give me a call with that next buyer lead? So I have the opportunity to work with you, Dave. Could I count on you for that, brother? That's it. It's just that simple. Have a call to action. If you're having 3, 4, or 5 show up all at the same time on the Zoom meeting, which has actually been working very, very well for us, if you have that happen, hold off on your call to action. Play with the Zoom. Ask each one what they're doing. These are all producers, remember. So they're all hanging out. You're the hub of it. You're seen as the Oprah factor. Like everybody's hanging out. All these top producers are hanging out with you, and they see it with their own eyes. So if it's 2, 3, 4, or 5 on the Zoom meeting all at the same time, which is a great strategy to do, don't do a call to action. What you do is, as soon as you finish a Zoom meeting, have 45 minutes blocked out on the other side of it. Pick up your phone, call each and every one of them. Hey, Dave, I just want to give you a quick call. Dude, that was awesome. Thanks so much for being there. Man, I just wanted to tell you something. I think you're an amazing guy. I'm really inspired by you. And brother, if I could hit the universe reset button and only work with agents like you, I'd be in loan officer heaven. Dave, could I count on you for that next buyer lead, man, so I have a chance to work with you? Hang up with Dave, pick up the phone, call Dan. Hang up the phone with Dan, pick up the phone, call Todd. Whoever has the most conversations and whoever gives that "can I count on you" speech to the most people will close the most amount of loans, period. Or at least, let me rephrase that. They'll attract the most amount of leads, and then using your TCA and the conversion strategies that Dave and his gang teaches you over there, you'll convert those leads and have the most amount of closings. So there's traffic and conversion. I can help you with traffic. Dave is the king of conversion. So I put the slides up and some trainings up. Use your hunger, channel your fear, and get off your butt and do something. This is what I told myself. So I'm not telling you to get off your butt. I'm telling me to get off my butt when I went through this. If you go to loanofficersurvivalkit.com, loanofficersurvivalkit.com, it's a total free membership. There's no payments to it whatsoever. There's no credit card. This is not a trial. We're going to have this open for entrance in closes this Sunday at midnight. We've had over 5,000 loan officers be a part of this, and we want you to be a part of it too. Again, there's no payments or there's no credit card or anything like that. Once we get on the other side of this thing, I'm just being honest, I'm going to turn this off at some point, but it's open right now, and I'd love to see you in there. And we've got classes on, I just took a screenshot. There's like 24 classes there, virtual coffee appointments, what to tell agents, how to do the bomb videos, how to market during a crisis. We had a top producer panel, how to run Zoom, that's in there. Just a lot of great stuff. Dave, I think the recording, I put a recording that you and I did in here. Barry Habib was kind enough to come in and share a couple of tidbits, a couple of his classes, and we put those up in there. I was talking with Renee, our friend Renee Rodriguez is putting a class in here. So a lot of good stuff. Dan, I'd love to have some of your stuff in here, my man. You are the cat's meow. So anyway, that's all I got, Dave.
All right, bro. That was awesome. That was so many great takeaways. I love so much of your presentation where you visually showed what happens for the person that's the light, for the person that's doing the work. And so I loved how you drew that. And then you just gave very specific tactics, strategies, scripts, emails, text messages, and then that insight around Zoom meetings. So Todd, before I bring you into it to debrief on this, I'm going to bring in Dan. Before I bring in Dan, I want everybody in the Mortgage Coach community to click on Carl's link. We put a link in chat. So there's a link to it in chat if you're in Zoom. And there's also a link in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group. So click on that. But Dan, what were some of your takeaways and any questions you have for Carl?
Well, first of all, and at the risk of sucking up to Carl, Dave, I told you the other day on our call, I think that Carl is one of the smartest promoters in the industry. I noticed it 10, 12 years ago when we first met with your group. You just seemed to get it. You were ahead of the curve on Facebook. And, I think to us, Zoom has sort of become a part of our everyday, but it hasn't to realtors. And so I just love that part because we just assume it, but realtors tend to be behind us a bit. And I wouldn't have thought of doing Zoom classes for realtors. So I love that. And then one other quick comment on the script.
Dan, it doesn't even need to be a class per se. It could be, hey, Dan, you want to practice back and forth a little bit? It takes the pressure off of you to have, well, I got to get the PowerPoint. I got to know what to say. And screw that. Just get on there and say, hey, Dan, I'm just going to play around a little bit. And I thought it'd be better if I did it with somebody. Would you like to join me on it? And so it takes the pressure off of having to be an expert on it.
I love that. And it's funny, as I was talking to Dave about this. So when I roll out something new, like we'll look at a Market Mentor, I stress and I think and I build slides and I just try so hard to make it good. And it's never very good. But once I get comfortable, I just be me. And it's amazing. The results are so much better. People want authenticity. So the more you try to be Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect, it just doesn't work. You got to be you.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
And then I would say on the script thing, and this is a little bit controversial, so I just don't want to step on toes, but this thing about calling clients to see how you're doing right now, it's almost like mandatory. Like you owe it to clients to check in with them. People are scared, they're confused. And so I've been really almost too much on a soapbox about this, but there's been so much misinformation posted on Facebook about the forbearance. And I just think it's wrong to guilt trip all these people that forbearance is the devil, because there are people that are trying to decide about feeding their kids or making their house payment. And so one, you shouldn't be judging them. But two, it's always been clear to me that you don't have to pay that money back at the end of the 3 or 6 or 9, 12 months. It's just not right if you read the CARE Act. So I think that's a great play to talk to people and say, I don't know if you're in this position. I have other clients that are. Can I help you? We could look at maybe doing a cash out refi, or maybe we should talk about forbearance. Let's talk about how do we get you through the other side? Because I think the refi mania that can come out of the forbearance, if you're close to people and you weren't the one that judged them and make them feel stupid for going into forbearance, you're going to win big. Millions of people in that boat right now. So
yeah. So two things I want to make sure folks hear. When I did the interview, not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before, I mastermind with 4 agents, and the realtors all did over 100 loans yearly. One of them does over 300. So I mean, baller agents. And Glenn Bill asked, how much would you like it if your loan officer was helping you connect with your customers virtually? Like they were teaching you, collaborating, and helping you do that. Every single one of them said emphatically, yes, I would love my loan officer to do that. So there's a lot of value with that. One nuance I want to add, when reaching out and checking in on people and having the refi conversation, if rates are going to be going into the 2.5s, use your judgment. You don't want to take an app on everybody, but this is the time to prepare, to make sure that when it makes sense to have someone approved and ready, you're putting them on the runway. And so be thoughtful about that. And then make sure every single one of them has a total cost analysis. Dan, anything else you want to add to that? And then Todd will bring you in for questions and comments.
No, let's bring in Todd. But thank you, Carl. That was helpful.
Yeah, that was
pleasure, Dan.
That was really huge. I love it, Carl. I still think, for me, of course, I love when you said do your most important priority, your purchases from 9 to noon, right? I love the old win by noon thing. But talk again to that. You said early on, do 2 sprints a day, and then you said divide your day into working on your purchases first, and then reacting later and working on your refinances. How do you talk to that loan officer who's just busy and reacting to their email and whoever calls them? How do you get them refocused on focusing on those priorities first?
Well, the best business course question in the world was asked to me one time, and I've copied it 10,000 times since then. And that question is, well, gee, Todd, so I'm not saying this to you, Todd, but this is how the question goes.
I'm good with
so
it.
You say, well, gee, Todd, how's the way you're doing it right now? How's that working out for you right now?
Awesome.
And that's how you get it. And if they say, awesome, dude, keep doing more of that then, right? But if they go, dude, I was just talking to a guy this morning, super nice guy, right? Super awesome guy. He said, Carl, I feel like I'm spinning plates and I'm running around and kind of, I'm the plate spinner. I said, well, how's that working out for you? Dude, I'm going crazy. I said, well, you want a different way? You want to see some way? You want to get on a different way? So if what you're doing, and I'm not saying this, sarcastic at all. If what you're doing is awesome, is working great, dude, just go do more of that. But if you feel like you're just spinning some plates, a little structure in your life, if you don't already have it, which I didn't, a little structure in your life. I always thought, dude, I'm a freak about my calendar. And I didn't used to be, man. I went kicking and screaming about, because I thought, look, I'm a loan officer. I want the freedom. I want to do things when I want and how I want. And I never understood how freeing a calendar can be to our business and our own personal life. It is, I've never worked less hours and made more money than today. And it's because I live by my calendar and my day is structured like literally to every 15 minutes. And it is, and if I don't get something done, that means I need to delegate that task out. I need help delegating that task out to somebody else because there's not enough time in my day to do that activity. Or what other activities in my day that I can delegate out so I can finish this. Because like, you know, having time to talk to our clients and do our TCAs, man, there's no better time spent. And so anything I'm doing other than that probably needs to be delegated out.
I love it. I love it. That's that squiggly yellow line that you showed, right? On the loan officers.
Yeah.
So, you know, again,
you know what that really is, Todd? That's the thing. So look, man, I'll get off on this one. So, you know, we all know what ROI is, right? Return on investment. We go, man, that's where the money is and that's where the money's lost. True to some level, but that's not where the money's really lost or won. The money's really won or lost by something I call the COI, which is the cost of indecision or the cost of inactivity. That's that wavy, that indecision, inactivity. Cost of inactivity, cost of indecision is costing all of us an absolute way more than what we're making. And when here you are and you hear a good idea, the person who makes the shortest time between the idea and implementing an idea is going to have the most freedom and make the most money.
Well, I love it. You said you don't have to be a pro. And Dan, I appreciate you transparently sharing because I get stuck kind of like you do, Dan. I want to make it perfect and then realize that when I just get it out and I'm transparent and authentic, people really like it. So that quote that you said, Carl, of you don't have to be a pro, just execute, I think is really critical. And I think we all need to be thinking about how can you get that scheduled? Because Carl, you and I are really similar. I live on my calendar. What gets scheduled gets done. I love you saying that, hey, if I don't get it done, that I got to delegate it. That's super cool. I haven't heard that before. And, you know, I think that's just something that all of us in this community, whether you think you're super efficient or not, I mean, that's really been my whole push of Win by Noon the last few years is getting those first priorities done right, get it on the calendar, and then be committed to get it done. Don't get distracted by the other things. And I am continuing to hear, you know, our team is operating. We had a transaction yesterday that was one of 5 closings. One closed on Wednesday and 4 were closing yesterday. And a couple of them closed by the skin of the teeth because the LOs hadn't done a great job. The realtor made a comment to our team member that I think 3 of the 4 had to do, you know, docs that morning because they missed all the timelines on the CDs and everything. And I think you all have to be prepared to be professionals and work. And so I think what you just said, Carl, really was a great reminder for everyone, whether you're one of the awesome top people in this group who's kicking butt or whether you're the ones who are struggling in those yellow lines to get back to that green line.
So, dude, I just saw a comment on the face. I got to read this. I hope it was okay. So our dear friend Dan Keller, everybody knows Dan Keller, right? Dan is like he's a freaking beast, right? In a very cool way. So Dan, we just talked about idea to implementation, eliminate the time. Dan already did. My to-do list for next week: make a top producer panel of agents on Zoom, post a Zoom meeting for those agents. Boom, done. And that's why Dan is the man that he is today, right? And a great leader in our industry, just because of that kind of stuff. So good for you, Dan.
So Dan, thank you for jumping in on that. And that gives me a homework assignment for everybody on this call. I interviewed Hunter Marquardt yesterday, and he had a huge epiphany on how important, something that he's known about forever, it is in today's market to document your top 3 things. Like, what are the top 3 things you're going to do every day, and you start your day with that. I did a little 20-minute interview with him yesterday, and he told his story. And guys, this is a guy who's doing over 140 million in business. So this is a guy that is a coach, a mentor. He's head of production for RPM. So he's got 2 teenage boys and a wife. No one is busier than this guy. No one's more successful. And he's like, I got to write down my top 3 things to do. So what Dan just did, taking what he heard on this call and putting it to pen to paper in a way that he'll remember it, in a way that he can delegate it. He's got a team. But just that process alone, guys, that's like, you know, what are your top 3 things today? So I want everybody who listened to this, Carl shared about 10 actionable items. To me, like 5 of them all need to be done. Like if I was a loan officer, I'd be reviewing, you know, who am I calling in terms of my past customers? and fine tuning my script and making sure what Carl told me I'm doing. I would absolutely be fine tuning my referral partners. Who am I going to call? What am I going to say? How am I going to turn that into a post on social media? Who are the realtors that I'm going to reach out to and execute on this Zoom strategy? So by the way, you can't do all those tomorrow. I mean, what are you going to do today? What are you going to do Monday? And then I don't want you not to listen to my next few interviews, but I really think today's call was so valuable that you need to, like the point Carl made at the beginning, like do the things you need to know before you're going and you're chasing new lights. And Carl, these were like so foundational. So love it. Guys, down below, let us know the things you're going to do. I'm looking at a remark from Hedley Williams out of Bend, Oregon. She said, "Oh my God, this stuff is great. I can't thank you enough." So Hedley, I throw it back at you. What are the 1 or 2 things you're going to do from today's call? We'd love to know. Share it. And guys, we got 15 minutes left. If you have questions for Carl, put them down below. Dan, I either want a question from you, from Carl, or if you've led countless loan officers, 1,000 loan officers that you've led, what questions do you think they're having, or what could you anticipate would be valuable for Carl to just help our community take action?
Well, I think Carl has a better pulse on it than I do at this point, but what I just sense in talking to people just through my membership group, the fear is unbelievable. I was talking to a friend that I used to work with, and this was many days after Carl's comment from last Friday, and he said, "I'll never forget, fear is peeing your pants and courage is still going out and talking." And he said he had his black pants on. That was hilarious. Yeah. But it was timely because there's so much fear. And my members keep saying, "How is this different than 2008? And my answer is like, why do you care? And if you read my thought of the day today, I'll just pop it up real quick. I won't share my screen or anything, but I always don't remember what I said. I said, why is it that some people win in any market and others win only in a good market? The answer is simple. Winners do not define their market conditions. They adapt, adjust, and move forward regardless of external environment. Average people believe they need a good market and therefore continually define market conditions. So just to get people to stop talking about 08, this is not 08, and so what? I know people, Carl knows people, people had their best years ever in 08 and 09. So I think that's sort of the big thing right now is people keep trying to go down these dark paths and let the other guy do that. That's a good thing for you, not for them.
Love that. By the way, guys, in this group, Dan puts in his updates. Make sure you have the Rate Watch app downloaded because there's lots of value in that. And that update is one of them. Todd, what about you? Do you see any questions that we're missing in any of our channels? Or any questions you think we need to get from Carl before we, get into the last 5 minutes of the call?
Well, I think one thing we should do is remind everyone, Dave, that we've got Scriptapalooza next week, 9 a.m. on Tuesday the 5th. And we've got a great group of people lined up. So look through the threads down below. If you're not signed up for it, make sure you're there. We'll be here on Zoom. And then if you can't get it on Zoom, because we'll probably hit the max, jump in the mortgage coach community on Facebook Live. But is this the 3rd or 4th year we're doing it? I can't even remember, Dave.
It's the 3rd year, but guys, here's my pitch to you. So I don't know if anybody follows Rene Rodriguez, but he did a really funny post the other day. He talked about 30 years ago when he was 18 and he had his first sales job. He was, in the office of the top producer and he saw a wadded up script on the guy's desk and he waited till the guy left. He went and took the script, photocopied it, put it back. So basically getting the right script from a badass loan officer is something that, drove the 18-year-old Rene Rodriguez to steal, to be a thief. Just giving you a hard time, Rene. And here's the deal, guys. The 12 loan officers I have on that call account for over $1.2 billion a year in volume. 12 people are doing the business of an army. So to do 1.2 billion in annual volume, if you look at industry averages, that's 100 to 150 loan officers. So you got 12 people that are the most successful, effective people in America, and we're going to just be asking them what their scripts are. So do sign up for Scriptapalooza, and if you're a manager listening to that, please share that. It will be an epic event. So let's do this. Carl, you gave like, how many ideas do you think you gave there? You gave a lot of value. Like how many different ideas?
Enough, because you only need one.
Well, what's your one? That's
Yep.
where I was going to go. Let's say you gave 10. If there was one or two things that you shared, what are the one or two that you want to make sure this community like writes down in their top 3?
So just write mine down here so I don't forget them halfway through my sentence. So for me, it's like, it's individual. Because like if you just ask that question of me, of yourself, Dave, of Todd, of Dan, of Robert, we would all likely give a different answer, a different right answer. So for me, it's like, sit down somewhere where it's super quiet, no phone for like 10 minutes, and ponder the question, what is the activity that makes me most of my money? What is the one single activity I do that brings in most of my business? What is that thing? And some people might say, well, go into my closings. Nope, something had to happen before you went to that closing. What happened? Some people might say, well, closing on time. Nope, something happened to bring that lead in to close it on time. So what is the one single activity you do that brings in most of your business? Whether you're closing 4 loans or 40 or 400, right? What is the single thing that you do that makes you most of your business? Now going forward, now write down everything else, delegate out everything else and do that one thing, whatever that one thing is. And my one thing might be different than my suspicion is, Dave, mine and yours, just because I know you so well, is likely to be very close to the same. But a lot of us might be different and still be top producers. So what is that activity that you do that makes you most of your money? Do that. And the second thing is, if you find yourself in the office after 5 o'clock, make a list of everything you do from 5 p.m. on, and that's a description of your next hire. So whatever you're doing after 5 o'clock, that is a job description for your next hire, and do that sooner than later.
I love that.
And understand that when we hire people, hiring people don't cost us money; they make us money. When we hire people, that we're buying ink for a printing press that prints $100 bills. Don't skimp on the ink. Write small checks to cash big checks. Look, we closed, my team, the team I got paid on, we closed over 700 loans last month. 700 last month. I would have never dreamed that in a million years, Dave. I remember when I was closing 3 and thought it was a big deal. And it was a big deal, right? It was a big deal. But as I purified my system and identified what's my one thing and did only that, and then to make sure that I could scale it, if I was after 5 o'clock, hired somebody to do that activity that I did after 5 o'clock so they can do it from 9 to 5. And that's an investment. And it's writing small checks to cash big checks.
Love that, man. So Taylor just made another comment, and he said, Carl White and Scott Husbeth were my first mentors in the mortgage base when I got in the mortgage business. I'm indebted to them for life. They got me doing video when no one else was as a newbie LO in 2008, and pushed me to grow my social media. Love those guys. So Dan, that was a super nice thing to say. And Carl, what do you say to anyone on this call right now? There you go. They're not doing video. Like, we have to digitally connect. We have to master Zoom. They're not using video strategically. Let's create some new Dan Kellers right now. You got like 3 minutes. Give us some
the fear,
Carl White.
Just like feel the fear and do it anyway. Look, Dan's a handsome guy. I'm not saying this to be funny. He is. I get that. And he is. He's a handsome guy. I'm not. And I'm not. I get it. I'm not saying that to be self-deprecating. I'm no Brad Pitt, and I know it. And I make millions and millions and millions of dollars each year in personal W-2 income because of the videos that I do. Right now, the videos don't do the conversion, but they create the conversation opportunities. You follow me? And so feel the fear and do it anyway. Don't worry about what you look like. I think I said this last week. You look like exactly how you look to everybody else. Like when you do your videos, I got some breaking news for you, which is good news for some of you, bad for the rest of us people. That's what you look like. That's how you sound. That's who you are. When you go to the 7-Eleven or the grocery store or the movie theater, when we can do that again, that's what everybody else is seeing. So unless you go out to 7-Eleven with a paper bag over your head, which is quite the spectacle in itself, I guess, just do it anyway, and that's okay. One thing that I've learned, and I hope it's okay for me to say this, but I'm a firm believer in it, that God made me an imperfect person in a perfect way. God made me an imperfect person in a perfect way. It's my flavor. It's who I am. So I'm not Dan, and Dan's grateful he's not me. We're different people, and that's okay. I don't have to look like you, Dave, when you do your videos. You do an amazing job. I don't have to look like you. I don't have to look like Jeremy. I can look like me, and my crowd, a percentage of the crowd will identify with me that might not with Todd or Dan or the other Dan or you, Dave, or they don't match with me, but they match with you. So you'll help identify with who you identify with. Just get out there and do them. Look, let people know who you are, and the right people will be attracted to you, and don't try to be somebody else, right? There's only one of you. That's another thing I keep in mind too, buddy. When we start calling these referral partners, understand that you're the prize. They're not the prize. They're awesome people, but you're the prize because there's one of you and there's thousands of them, and I love those odds. One of you, thousands of them, use that to your favor. Yeah.
Don't
need them all,
that,
just
guys.
need some.
So here's my last closing 1 minute, and then I'm going to give it to you guys, to Todd, let you architect the closing comments. But Loan Officer Survival Kit, get some, sign up today, study it. Even if you're a master on Zoom, I am going to watch that call. I'm going to take notes, and I will guarantee everybody on here, I will be better at connecting in Zoom because of it. Headley Williams just commented, and Headley, thank you. She said, I am committed to taking action on my videos and calls. I've been trying to make them perfect, taking action now. It's so great. I'm really blown away. So Headley, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sharing what you're doing. You rock. All right, Todd, I'll let you close it out, brother.
Well, we got 4 minutes, so I'm not going to close out myself. I'm going to make sure that Carl and Dan each get their last word in. But I did want to highlight a couple other people in the community. Michelle Mason said that she's been doing a Friday mastermind with her realtors. In fact, I jumped in there for 15 minutes a couple Fridays ago. It was a blast just to have that conversation. And again, it's nothing you have to over prepare for. There's so much content in this community that you can actually get on and talk about, right? Steve Harney's been putting out such great stuff through Keeping Current Matters. I did a mastermind actually with Lori Richardson, who's a big member of this community as well yesterday with her real estate agents. There's such an opportunity. They need it. They want the conversation. So I'm just going to encourage all of you that should probably be one of the ones on your list. It may not be your top one, but it should be probably there in the top 3. And so any last comments on that, Carl, and then we'll let you close it out, Dan.
Man, just my thing is, look, don't worry about what people think about you. Look, people don't think about us. People don't think about you near as much as you think they do. They're too worried about what you think of them. So people don't think about us near as much as we think we do. They just don't. They just don't. So just do it. So appreciate you, Todd. You're an awesome guy, brother.
Thanks, man. That means a lot coming from you because I feel the same way. All right, Dan, how do you want to kick us off here with the last word of what people should be doing as they head off into this crazy week? And I know since I get to read your Swamponomics newsletter and I'm part of your options group and I'm watching all your stuff that you are just, you're printing those $100 bills for all those people in your community.
Oh, thank you, Todd. I really appreciate that. Well, I don't have anything new or earth-shattering. I just staying with this video thread and just do it and how you look. The theme that Carl's got. For years, I do video every day for Mortgage Coach, but I typically kept my face off the screen because, I didn't want to fix this mess and I didn't want to shave and I didn't want to get dressed up. And this is kind of me. Actually, I'm really fancy to have a collar on. And then I realized what is the world is watching reality TV. We're obsessed with reality TV. This is our own reality. The last thing they want to see is a polished Carl White. I don't know that there is one, but they don't want to see it if there was. They don't want to see a polished Dan. They like when I misspeak. That's what I couldn't pronounce a word. It was a simple word. I had to ask somebody, how do you say that again? And that would have embarrassed me 10 years ago. But today, it's fun, and people like authenticity.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. My coach always told me when I started doing my videos, 2 minutes with Todd, that people liked it because it wasn't very good, meaning it wasn't overproduced. I didn't overthink it. I didn't re-record it when I mumbled on my words. So I just got to say, guys, you crushed it. Both of you. So much appreciate you taking time to come in to our community. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure that you like it down below, share it with your friends. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next Tuesday for Scriptapalooza. I know that's going to be great. I've been talking to speakers, and they are really pouring in to be prepared to add super value to you guys. And really appreciate everyone taking the time out of your busy Friday to be here. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Good seeing everybody.